I thought leaving was the hardest part. I was wrong. Leaving is only the beginning. Staying gone is the real battle. After I walked away, the world didn't magically become brighter. No dramatic music. No sudden relief, just silence. A silence so loud it forced me to face myself without distraction. And I didn't like what I saw. I had forgotten how to be alone. Not lonely, alone. I didn't know what music I liked anymore, what food I craved, what thoughts were actually mine. For so long, my life revolved around avoiding conflict, avoiding disappointment, avoiding his moods. Now there was nothing to avoid, only me. Some nights I replayed everything, every word, every warning sign I ignored. I asked myself the same question over and over. How did I let this happen? And the answer hurt more than anything else. Because it wasn't one big mistake, it was 1,000 small compromises. I ignored my instincts. I excused behavior that felt wrong. I stayed quiet when I should have spoken, not because I was stupid, but because I wanted love to work. We don't talk enough about how dangerous hope can be when it's placed in the wrong hands. People think abuse looks obvious. Screaming, bruises, broken doors. But sometimes it looks like patience, like understanding, like slowly disappearing to keep the peace. That kind leaves no visible scars. Only confusion. I blame myself for a long time, sir. For not leaving sooner. For believing him. For loving him more than myself. But healing taught me something important. You don't blame the drowning person for trusting the shore. The flashbacks came unexpectedly. A song in a store. A phrase someone used. A laugh that sounded too familiar. My body reacted before my mind. Tight chest? Shaking hands? A sudden need to escape. Trauma doesn't announce itself. It whispers. I started therapy, not because I felt broken, but because I wanted answers. I wanted to understand how love turned into fear without me noticing. And slowly, piece by piece, the puzzle made sense. He didn't destroy me. He mirrored my weaknesses, my fear of abandonment, my need to be chosen, my habit of putting others first. People like him recognize those traits instantly, and they know exactly how to use them. Understanding didn't erase the pain, but it gave it shape, and pain with shape is easier to carry. One day, my therapist said something I'll never forget. You didn't lose yourself. You hid yourself to survive. That sentence changed everything, because it meant I wasn't empty. I was buried. So I started digging. I said no more often. I canceled plans without guilt. I stopped explaining my choices. At first, it felt selfish. Then it felt powerful. Then it felt normal. Healing didn't mean forgetting him. It meant remembering myself louder. Months passed. I noticed I laughed differently, more freely, without checking if it was too loud. I noticed my shoulders weren't tense all the time. I slept better. Not perfectly, but peacefully. Then, one evening, something strange happened. I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no longing, just neutrality. And I realized that indifference is the final stage of healing. People ask why I stayed so long. They want a simple answer. Love, fear, hope. But the truth is more complicated. Leaving isn't about strength. It's about timing. You leave when the pain of staying finally outweighs the fear of going. If you're listening to this and you're still there, please hear this clearly. You're not weak. You're not stupid. You're not broken. You're human. And you deserve a love that doesn't require self-destruction. I don't hate him. Hate would mean he still has power over me. I simply understand him now. And understanding is closure. Today, my life is quieter. But it's mine. No walking on eggshells. No explaining my worth. No shrinking to be loved. Just honesty. Sometimes I think about the girl I used to be. The one who thought love meant endurance. I wish I could tell her one thing. Love should never feel like survival. If this story reached you, it's not by accident. Maybe you needed confirmation. Maybe you needed permission. Maybe you needed truth. Here it is. You can leave. You can start over. You can choose yourself. Even if it's terrifying. Especially then, because the bravest thing I ever did was walk away from someone who never planned to stay. But healing is not a straight line. Some days I felt strong. Other days, a single memory pulled me back. People don't talk about the grief that comes after freedom. Because you're not just mourning the person, you're mourning the future you imagined with them. The version of life that will never exist. There were moments I missed him, not the real him. But the idea, the moments between the pain, the apologies that sounded sincere, the version of him I hoped he would become. And that's the most dangerous part, missing potential instead of reality. I had to learn something brutal. Love is not measured by how much pain you can endure. Love is measured by how safe you feel being yourself. And I never felt safe. One night, I went back through old messages. Not to hurt myself, but to see clearly. And for the first time, I read them without excuses. The manipulation was obvious, the guilt trips, the subtle threats disguised as concern. I wasn't crazy. I was conditioned. That realization brought anger. Real anger, not explosive. Not loud, focused, the kind that builds boundaries instead of walls. I stopped romanticizing the past. Stopped asking what if, because what if kept me emotionally tied to a version of reality that never existed. Hope can be beautiful, but blind hope is a cage. I started rebuilding trust, not with others, with myself, listening to my instincts again, respecting my discomfort, leaving situations that felt wrong without justification. That was new and terrifying. People didn't always understand. Some said I changed. They were right. I became someone who no longer tolerated disrespect. Then came the loneliness. Not the empty kind, the quiet kind. The kind where you sit alone and realize no one is draining you. No one is watching your reactions. No one is twisting your words. Just peace. And peace felt unfamiliar, almost suspicious. I learned that chaos can become addictive when it's all you know. Silence feels wrong until your nervous system learns it's safe. Weeks turned into months. And one day, something unexpected happened. I felt proud. Not because I survived, but because I chose differently. I stopped seeing myself as someone who was damaged. I saw myself as someone who learned. And learning changes everything. Sometimes people ask if I would do it all again, if I regret loving him. The answer surprises them. No. Because even painful love teaches you your limits. And knowing your limits is how you protect your future. If you're listening to this while questioning your relationship, pay attention to how you feel after every interaction. Do you feel calmer or smaller? Because love should expand you, not erase you. Leaving doesn't mean you failed. It means you refuse to keep failing yourself. I don't need closure from him. I gave it to myself the moment I walked away. And if this story stays with you, let it remind you, you are allowed to outgrow people. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to leave even if no one understands. Your life is not a group decision. The truth is, the person who broke me also showed me how strong I could become. Not because of what he did, but because of what I survived. And this time, I'm not looking back. If you're listening to this while questioning your relationship, pay attention to how you feel after every interaction. Do you feel calmer or smaller? Because love should expand you, not erase you. Leaving doesn't mean you failed. It means you refuse to keep failing yourself. I don't need closure from him. I gave it to myself the moment I walked away. And if this story stays with you, let it remind you, you are allowed to outgrow people. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to leave even if no one understands. Your life is not a group decision. The truth is, the person who broke me also showed me how strong I could become, not because of what he did, but because of what I survived. And this time, I'm not looking back.